About 8 years ago, I was approached by NBC and Mark Burnett to do a show that they had entitled The Apprentice. Now, I had an agent, a big agent, and he was a great agent, but I shook Mark Burnett's hand, and NBC was dying to do it, and they said, we'd only do it if you do it, Trump. You're the only one we want, nobody else. So I was honored, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I knew nothing about television, nothing. So my agent calls me, I heard you accepted doing The Apprentice. I won't let you do it. So Jim said, Donald, in the history of television, there's never been a primetime show about business or what you're trying to do that succeeded. I said, I wish you told me that. Then he said, and only 3% of the shows that go on television make it. So in other words, you're probably going to have a failure anyway, but you'll definitely have a failure. I'm your agent. I do not want you to do this show. So I said, Jim, I have a problem. I shook the hand of NBC, and I shook the hand of Mark Burnett, who also is known for having done The Survivor, which is another great one. I think Apprentice is better, but these are minor details. I said, I shook the hand. He said, doesn't matter. You can't do it. I said, I have to do it. Anyway, time goes by. We do the show. It goes on. It starts at number 10. It goes to 8. It goes to 5 and 4. It then goes to number 2. And the following week, it's the number 1 show on television. And I knew it was good because I didn't know what the word rating meant. I didn't know, is that good or bad? But I knew it was good because the chairman of NBC called me. It was my birthday. And it was 7 in the morning. And he called. He said, Donald, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Now, to me, as an instinctive businessman, that means we're doing okay, right? My wife said, who was that? I said, that was the chairman of NBC. He wanted to wish me a happy. She said, darling, it's like 6:30 in the morning. So we went out, and I get a call from the agent, and he calls me also. But his call was like at 8. He said, Donald, congratulations, I'd like to see you. I said, Jim, what do you want to see me about? He said, well, your show just hit number 1, and if you don't mind, I think I'm entitled to a very substantial commission. So I said, how much do you think you're entitled to? Well, how about $2 or $3 million? I said, Jim, you're fired. And that was it. Remember this. Okay, the story is long, but the point is, number 1, I shook hands. I want to honor my handshake. I would have, had I not shaken hand, I would have really listened to Jim. So that's important. Number 2 is, sometimes in life to be successful, oftentimes, most of the time, you have to follow your instincts. You have to follow your gut. You have to. Your parents may say wrong, your whoever may say wrong, but you have to do it. Now, speaking of that, you've got to love what you do. And I've seen so many instances where people with great talent went into things that they didn't love, and they failed. You've got to love what you do. You've got to work hard. Never, ever quit. Never, ever give up, because that's the other thing. I've seen people that are super genius, but they don't have that gut feeling. They don't have that stick-to-itiveness, that never quit. And I've seen people that almost made it and failed because they couldn't go that extra mile. They couldn't do it. So you get something, you never, ever quit, never, ever give up.
You have to absolutely love what you do. Ideally, love what you do in a good business, but you know what? If it's not necessarily that good, the loving is more important than having that good business. Some people want to be teachers. I mean, some of the happiest people and the most successful people that I know are people that aren't the richest at all. They don't make it all the most money. They're teachers, they're scientists. I know people that are scientists that are like, they can't wait to get to work. They can't wait. Policemen, you gotta love what you do. You're gonna never, ever quit or give up. Never quit. You're gonna be so close. My father used to tell a story. He thought it was funny, but I actually thought it was more of a lesson. He viewed it as funny. And it was about a man who loved the cola business. He loved, soft drinks. That's what he loved. He just loved the business. Isn't it strange how people like different businesses? Look at all these geniuses, the heads of your college. And I think you like this better than politics too. Don't we like this better? This politics, oh. So what happens is he loved the color business, and he founded a company. It was called 3UP. And my father would tell this story, he'd laugh, but I'd listen and I'd say, I don't want to laugh, it's a lesson. And he found his company, 3UP. And he was very proud, but the company wasn't making it, didn't work, and he gave up, and it was just no good, and it went out of business. But he never wanted to quit. And he did another one. It was 4UP, and he did 5UP, and he did 6UP, and they would all fail. And he just kept failing, and finally he gave up. And my father would say, if he only came up, if he just worked a little bit harder, just one more, he would have had 7UP, and he would have been a tremendous success. And I laugh because I think of my father telling me that story. And we viewed it differently. And what I viewed it is not as comedy. I viewed it as never, ever give up. Just never give up.
You know, when people ask me about success, I've just started thinking about it over the last couple of years because I've seen a lot of it. You have to have an ability to handle pressure, because no matter how successful you are, I have many, many friends and enemies, a lot of enemies too, I don't care, but they're smart. I have a lot of enemies, and I've watched people and I've seen it. And people that can handle pressure can be entrepreneurs, can be successful. Now I have some friends that are really, really smart, but they can't handle pressure. In which case they should work for somebody, do great, and have a good life. There's nothing wrong with it. Because I almost think that's an instinctive thing, the ability to handle pressure. Now, one of the things I tell people about pressure is, you know what, they said, how do you handle pressure? Who's had more pressure than me? Ay. Have I had pressure over the years? But you have to have the ability to handle pressure. And if you can't handle pressure, you have to know that about yourself. You have to know that about yourself. You've got to be able to sort of say to yourself, nothing matters that much other than the real big deals with family, with your faith, etc. Okay. Always have passion. You've got to have passion for your family, for your life, for your church, for whatever it is. You've got to have that passion. You've got to just love it, okay? Knowledge. But if it's one word's very hard for that, but the word is knowledge. But you get knowledge through experience. One of the things people talk about is luck. And I do believe that people are lucky, and some people are luckier than others. I do believe that. But there's also an expression, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I can tell you 10 instances where I didn't quit when it was 1990, the world was coming down, the debt markets were everybody, all of my friends and enemies were going bankrupt. I never did. And the times were actually just terrible. And even today, you look at times and you see what happens, and you have to learn. But the word luck is very interesting. But if I didn't work really hard, I probably would not, almost definitely would not be here today. And unless you had me up as a man who at one point was successful, but let's see what a loser looks like. So you have to work hard, because it is true, you can develop luck through hard work.